Black women get so upset about the idea of polygyny when we know that we greatly outnumber our men.
See, polygamous relationships were originally built around building security, building an empire, building a nation of people.
They made things like polygamy really taboo for a reason. Everything they do, every belief they instill in us has a deeper agenda.
Like, I wonder if we ever sit back and just really think about, damn, like, all of my sisters deserve a man in the home.
If all the Black men with multiple baby mamas started to form a healthy polygamous relationship, imagine the empires and the communities that would be built.
If you brought two women together who both had really good stable jobs, plus that one man, which is the king, which is the leader, who also had a good job, you have 3 financial incomes in one household.
Instead of having baby mama drama and having a bunch of Black people pinned against each other.
It is your boy Black Ronin back on at it again with another banger and fire video for y'all's out here today. There, y'all, welcome on back to the channel. But guys, as seen in that video just a few moments ago, I gotta talk about polygamy and why it would never work in a place like America. Let's get on into it. So at first when I watched that video, I was like, you know, maybe that could work. I think that would be pretty cool if we had that legalized. And why hasn't it been legalized? And then I thought more about it, and I just looked at the state of America. I say, you know what? Nah, this won't even work. Even as it does get legalized, it won't be something that will be practiced often, in my personal opinion. Now, why do I say that? For one, we live in a country that don't respect men. A lot of these places where polygamy is like the norm and it works, you know, they respect the man. You know, like there's like it ain't the stuff that we used to seeing here in America that don't fly in a lot of countries that allow that. So in like parts of Africa, the Middle East, you know, that's really the only places around the world that really allow that. And they got it set up in a way, you know, each country is different, but you know, they got it set up in such a way that so it works, you know. And then on top of that, you know, America is just, in terms of our culture and everything, America's a business, you know. So like if it makes money, that's how America works. And I'm not saying, you know, it can't work here in America, but it's just for most men, I don't like, I feel like it's only going to benefit the top % of people here in America. And on top of that, knowing America, they're not going to legalize it just for only the men to, you know, get multiple wives. No, it's going to be legalized for everybody. Guarantee it. If they were to do it. Because America would be like, well, we want as much money as possible. Let's let everybody go for it. Let's get a full-on free-for-all. Let the wives get multiple husbands. Let the men get multiple wives, you know. And yeah, just go crazy. I feel like the woman will try to make it work more if they say they can get multiple husbands. Think about it. I mean, low key, they already are kind of doing it. Like if you're out here and you've been out here in this dating scene, like myself, you know, you're going to learn very quickly that if you're a decent looking dude and you ain't got your life together just yet, it's very easy to be a side dude if you really wanted to. Now, that's not my cup of tea. I don't believe in that, but I know a lot of guys out there who are out there doing that and they love it. But I think that's a dangerous game. You know, you're risking a lot being a side dude, and, you know, whether the other dude know or not, nah. But for a lot of women, you got to understand, there's a lot of simps out there who don't care, and they got their money, you know. And then I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of dudes that be on some weird stuff too. Like they want to see another guy smash their wife. Like you be surprised like at what dudes really be on. And I'd be like, what in the world? Like some homeboys be telling me certain stuff. I'd be like, hold on, I ain't know you get down like that. So, you know, America's like, men here, just people in general, when it comes down to like their sexuality, they're very odd, you know. Even as they're married, you know, they got some weird stuff going on at times. So, you know, I don't see it really working like that if we do legalize polygamy, but it could work for a woman. It could benefit her favor. She can have legally be married to the man that she wants and have the dude that, with money and stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, because it's hard to say on that, because it's like, I mean, a dude that she really wants is probably not going to go for being in a relationship with her. And then here's this other dude, he just spending the money, but he's still in the house. He still sees what's going on here and what's going on. It don't make sense, versus a man. It's still not going to work, because when you look around, most men are out of shape. Most men are, just trying to get by, so financially it's not going to work. Now, if you do have a system of people, you're basically, the only way for this to work in America, you're going to have to change the whole mindsets of people. Like, we're going to have to start working together. If you can get Americans to work together a lot more and, be more of a collective group instead of just by themselves and just thinking like, I got to do everything on my own. If you can make Americans a bit collective, it could work. But then again, it's going to challenge a lot of the wealth in this country too, because if something like this were to happen, one big thing that you get from, marriage and stuff and, having children is tax breaks. Like you get the, tax incentives and all that stuff. If you got a big family, multiple wives, that's a lot of money coming into the family and could easily equal a lot of wealth. Think about it. If you're able to change the narrative of a country and have them work together, make sure everybody respects the man, bring back masculinity. That's another thing that's lacking. Get all those things back in order. And then on top of that, let's say, is you as a man, you go get let's say you get two wives. One wife, she's making $50K a year. The other wife, she's making, maybe 20, 30K a year. You're making 20, 30K a year. All y'all are making, like, in total, that's practically almost 100K, if not more. So, I mean, y'all could really get a house and everything, and that's just as you're on the lower end. And then it, like, let's say there is no limit, because America, they're gonna have their restrictions. They might be like, you can only have up to 4 wives as a man. Okay, cool. So if everybody comes together, if you're making 20K, 30K, 4 wives, let's see, even if it's just 20K, let's do the math. 20, 40, 60, 80, and then plus yourself. Yeah, that's 100K just off of 20K a year from everybody. So yeah, like 4 of y'all. No, I'll take it back. I mean, 5 of us in total, so yeah. 20, 40, 60, yeah. So that's 100K right there. Everybody all working together. And then on top of that, it could take a lot of load off, just one wife, because let's say one wife, she's used to catering a lot to her man. They can all take turns. One wife can relax, kick back. If somebody's sick, you can take off for a sick day. Somebody loses a job, it's not going to hurt everybody. It's not going to be a big detriment, a big bummer for everybody, so like it could lead to stability as well, like terms of building a business. You can cover a lot more ground as well too. So hey, it really could work, but at the same time, America's getting more and more expensive, and yeah, it's getting unrealistic to be here, honestly. But the whole thing, this whole polygamy, America will have to go through a great reset to honestly pull this off. But if it does happen to be legalized, I feel like only the black community will really do the best from it. Think about it. You get all the baby mamas all together, and they all go back to that same man. Let's be honest, like some dudes just got a bunch of baby mamas. They all come together and be like, put all their money together, somehow work together in a healthy way. That could be a savage bloodline, like, not gonna lie. But there's one problem. Here in America, we're not the majority. So the majority over here is white. So if you're the majority in a country, and it's clear as day that you know, there is so much gatekeeping here in America. And that's not to say, yeah, like I mean, anybody can come up, but let's be honest, America is hyper competitive, and do the majority of the population really want somebody like us to keep rising up like that and gain a lot of power? Because we've seen it back in history. Whenever blacks were starting to surpass everybody, the government came through and, you know, rolled out this and rolled out that to really mess things up. So if we happen to get a shot to surpass in terms of the bloodline and wealth with a big family like that, it would change a lot. Definitely change a lot of America for sure. So, you know, that's big competition coming, you know, in white America's way. And the way, you know, white people, a lot of them operate, they're not finna really go for polygamy. You know, like, I don't know too many white people who are down for that. Not to say there's none out there, but I don't really come across who, like many people, just many men in general, that whenever I tell them, hey, would you ever want multiple wives? Oh, heck no, that's annoying. That's this and that. But you got to keep in mind, it's a lot of dudes that are out of shape. They don't deal with a lot of women. You know, they think they can lead with just the money. Versus us men of color here, melanated people, not all of us, but a lot of us tend to really know women the best, if I'm keeping it honest with you. That's not to say white guys don't. That's not to say any other race don't. But I feel like we truly know women the best, if I'm being honest with you, and we understand them on a much deeper level. And I feel like we're probably the only ones that can really pull it off. And then that leaves another problem. Since the whites are majority, and you know we're the minority. You know, first of all, you know, interracial is definitely legal, 100%. So now, if you're a dude out here, and you know you're comfortable with talking to women, you think everybody's gonna be happy to see a man of color with, he's got one wife black, and he's got another wife white, got a Latina up in there, you know, and then another white girl, so everybody is working together, you know, that's gonna upset a lot of people, you know, and that's gonna take away a lot from the competition, you know, that everybody is, you know, so naturally competing for, you know, thinking they just want one wife. But here comes a group of people saying, hey, you know, and we got that natural old world instincts in us because we come from Africa. That's the norm over there, like in many parts of Africa and the Middle East, polygamy. So, you know, that's really almost ingrained into us, if we're just being honest. So how can another group of people surpass us in that type of area when that's low key naturally ingrained in us, in our traits? You know, I'm just saying, you know, like the proof is in the pudding when you look around. But yeah, guys, I don't think it can work here in America. And it's only going to be a specific group of people that's going to benefit off of it. And if so, it's going to raise too much competition for, you know, the majority out here. And then with all the gatekeeping and everything, you're going to lose a lot of control when, like, in terms of the people. And let's be honest, big, strong, healthy families, yeah, America don't want that. So until America completely resets and changes entire narrative, bring back masculinity, good health, healthy foods, good morals, that's another thing. You know, morality is practically gone here. So it's a lot of things that goes into this that America just ain't ready for. So I don't think this could ever work here. You know, so yeah, polygamy, yeah, it's not gonna work in America. I gave my thoughts on it. You know, there's just, America is such in a weird spot right now, like in terms of the political climate, and then you got all the restrictions. Yeah, I don't think it'll work in a place like America. But you guys let me know what you guys think. It is your boy Black Ronin. Like and subscribe, share. Y'all take it easy.